Hi, my name is Kevin Krupp, and I'm with the heat injector system, and today we're taking a look at the heat injector that's at Honda in Lincoln, Alabama. So this is a 6 million BTU unit in a size 120, and what we have here is we have the main disconnect for the panel, and then we have the remote or the main control panel. So what we on the cover, we have a couple indicators. These are all LEDs with one push button. This is the heat enable, so anytime that the unit needs heat, it's going to illuminate that one. Once the flame does kick on, it will drop a flame on, and all these are actually input ports on the PLC. And then if there is any kind of alarm or failure or some kind of high gas pressure, it's actually going to trip the alarm. This needs to be reset either with a button on the panel or by the PLC at the end of the unit. If there's a high temp limit in the unit that actually trips, it'll actually throw on an indicator here as well as in the PLC, and this is something that I'll show you how to reset inside the unit. So let's go ahead and open this up. So you can reference the operator's manual in here. This is the flame controller, and this unit has two flame rods, so we actually have a redundant flame rod in here that we watch. Anytime you're in here, we got two breakers that you can throw down if you have to work on it. That cuts all the control voltage out. And then right here, these blue terminals, these are actually all the input points for the PLC. So these are customer contacts that we actually bring our contacts into. So this is something that shouldn't really have to have a problem with. All of the specs should be on the inside of the door. And then right below this panel, we actually have the gas train vestibule. So if I open this up, you're going to see our gas train for this 6 million BTU unit. We kind of have a lockable ball valve out here for service if need be. Once you actually roll into the gas train, you're going to see these flanges. So these flanges are something that you can remove and actually pull the gas train out if we need to service it. On the inlet flange, there actually is a filter strainer that if it presents too much of a pressure drop, that's something that may be clogged if it's new gas line or something. Once it comes into this, it hits the second stage regulator right here, and you can actually see the regulated gas pressure by this gauge up in the top corner, but right now it's currently set to 40 inches. This is a low gas pressure switch, so this watches the pressure if it ever gets too low. Like if someone cut this off, it automatically shuts it off and it'll automatically restart it once it is satisfied. As it keeps flowing, there's a high gas pressure switch. This actually is a safeguard in case your regulator breaks. This is a manual reset. So if this LED, both of these have LEDs, if this LED is on, you have to use the bone of your finger to trip it and actually depress that red poppet in there. Underneath here, you actually have visual indicators. So there's redundant valves in this gas train. So when the burner turns on, as you open the valves, this little white gauge will actually throw red out, and that will happen for 10 seconds if it doesn't take flame. Once it does ignite, it stays out, and that's just a proof that the valves are open and gas is flowing. As it keeps proceeding, it rolls into the control valve. This is the Belimo valve with a S1A switch. So this switch is actually responsible for making sure the unit is back at the home position before we try for ignition. And this actually pops off if you have to service the shaft in here. So this is something that is set to a low fire position. Right now, that will produce about a 40-to-1 turn down. So this is something that if you do pull it off and put it back, there's these horns that have to be nested into the home of the Belimo. So you just take extra care to get those in there, and then you can snap it on. If you want to do any manual testing with it, this button actually releases the shaft engagement, so now you can actually throttle it manually. And as you roll through here, there is a union here, so if you have to service anything, you can actually undo the union with the assembly in place. So let's go take a look inside the unit. The main airflow blower is running, so it could be a little loud. This right here, this is the 6 million BTU heater here at Honda. And what we have is we have a high temp limit. And this is actually one of the high temp limits that you see. If it ever trips, you just have to smack this poppet in there and that'll reset it. This unit has two combustion blowers on it. So what we do is we watch each one independently, and it has to have both operating blowers to run. So they're tuned finally. Once you get down here, because the two flame rods, that's this plug at the end. That's actually your flame rod. We can, there's more information about how to tell if your flame rod is good or bad. The next to it, there's only one spark plug on this unit, and it's by the end with a gold here, and that's something that takes a normal spark plug wrench to remove. But that's something that if your spark plugs are fouling, there is a shutter here right to the right that you may have to close the shutter a little bit more. It's right on this far side, but they should be tuned perfectly right now. There is a main airflow pressure switch for the whole system here. That's this one, which is confirmed to run. And then down at this end, with the two combustion blowers, there's actually a filter box that takes a standard HVAC filter. So this just has 8 3-arm knobs. You have to pull it off. That's something that you should service a couple times a year, and just check to see if it's clogged. The pressure switches are tuned to not work if that gets too clogged. So if you see that it's shutting off because of the pressure switch problem, it could be that no one's changed that filter. So that's something you have to look at. And then this is the 6 million BTU internal unit at Honda in Lincoln, Alabama.